Hey, hi everyone. I will be talking about a recommendation system today that is very simple to implement and yet very practical in many business cases. This recommendation engine has been built and has been designed in Shutterstock Custom and is been under implementation since then. But actually, before I walk you through the recommendation engine itself, you should know what Shutterstock Custom does. So in Shutterstock Custom, we provide visual content to different brands around the world. So on one side, we have a huge network of photographers, or generally speaking, videographers, and on the other side, we have the brands that they actually need those content for their marketing, for their advertising, and for kind of building a good relationship with their audience. So this content that they can use on their Instagram account or on their social media could be in any form of photo, video, Instagram stories, or blog, and actually they can use that for any kind of building a strong relationship with their audience or campaign wisely for them. So I walk you through the workflow that we have in Shutterstock Custom. So when a brand comes to us, say McDonald's, they have a specific scenario for us to shoot for them. So they will ask us to shoot 25 photos of, for example, 2 kids having ice cream in a family environment, surrounded by their family in an urban environment. So this kind of specific scenario that we have, we call it brief. As a data scientist, we actually do care about each of the data points for each of the attributes in this brief. For instance, when looking at it, we will find out that the median time is photo. We have 2 kids, so that photographer should have access to kids. So the category of the brief is lifestyle because we are shooting for people. And also because we are shooting ice cream, the category could be product as well. That contributor or that photographer should have access to people at different ages and also should be able to shoot in an urban environment. So these are the data points that we really do care about when we want to pick different people for this kind of brief. So the business question here is that when we have a huge network of photographers, who is the best one for doing that brief? The whole process of choosing the contributor was kind of manual process in Shutterstock Custom, but we wanted to have a kind of data-driven solution for that. People actually, as a product owner, they were supposed to remember who is good contributor and who is a bad contributor, and then what kind of category they are good or they are bad at, and then anecdotally pick those contributors for different briefs. But we changed that to a kind of different, like data-driven feature on our platform. So for any recommendation system, you need actually to rank users or items against each other. So you need a ranking system. For us, for some of the contributors, for some of the photographers, we had the historical data with them, like that we knew if they are good or they are bad contributors and what kind of category they are good, but we didn't have any system to rank them. So what we did was that we, based on a statistical model, we score each of them from 0 to 100 from different data points that we have from the contributors. Those data points could have been like how many photos they submitted to us, how many of those photos we approved, whether they were on time or not, or did they get any kind of brand feedback, did they get any like, any dislike, if the brand user downloaded their photo once or twice or many times. These are kind of the data points that we gather for all contributors, for those that we have we have history with. So that was a way to rank all contributors against each other, and rank them in a system, in a scoring system from 0 to 100. But for new contributors, we have a part of our network was actually people that they signed up with us very recently. So we didn't know if they're good or bad, but we should have a system to estimate or predict if they're going to perform good or well in our system. So for those, we have two approaches here. One of the approaches is that someone, as a portfolio reviewer in a company, can go through their Instagram account or can go through their portfolios, look at their photos, and give them an estimation score. Like, give them, like, this person is good at life is life, but I think that this person could be good at 20%. Or the other person could be good at the sport, but 80%. So that was the guess that someone manually actually gave those contributors. But the other thing was that, the other approach was that we wanted to know how that new sign-up contributor is similar to one of our old contributors. So if that old contributor has performed very well with us, this new contributor could perform as well. So that encouraged us to make a color similarity API, which is an image processing API. So by looking at different Instagram accounts, different portfolios, we found out that if two photographers have used the same kind of filtering or have used the same kind of color palette, they're going to be very, very similar in their photo shooting style as well. So if we can compare them in terms of color similarity of their photos, we can also say that this new one is the same as the old one. So we built the color mapping API, which can compare two photos and say how much this photo is similar to the other photo in terms of colors that we use. For doing that, suppose that you have two photos, and there is a way to extract the dominant colors of each photo. If you have the dominant colors of two photos, and you can compare the paired ones with each other, then you will find a solution to find the difference between two colors. There are many kind of solutions for that, for finding the difference between two colors, but one of them is right here. The value of C is between 0 to 255 and gives you the difference between two colors in that color spectrum. So if we have that algorithm, that API should be able to tell us that the left picture is similar to the top one, 66%, and similar to the bottom one, 42%. And if you generalize that idea to two sets of photos or two sets of or two Instagram accounts, then the algorithm actually tells you that these two photographers are 6% similar to each other, but these two are 37% similar in terms of color, basically. But you can see that even when here, the example, you can see that they are very close in photo shooting style as well. So that was a way that we could say that these new photographers, they haven't done any sign-up for us, but we can guess if they're good or bad. So far, we know what kind of categories they are good, and what is their score between 0 to 100. And also, through the sign-up form that they went through, they could tell us what kind of access tags they have, what kind of tags they have access to. If they have access to, for instance, luxury houses or not, or if they have access to people with different or not. So the question here is that when we have the brief, who is the best pick for that brief? So for that, we built two vectors, one out of the brief and the other one out of the contributor. So for the brief, we know what types of the shooting you're doing, and what is the best score of a photographer could be, and also what kind of tags that brief requires. On the other hand, we have the contributors that they have the same kind of data points. So if now we can find the distance between these two vectors, we can say that if they are close to each other or not. And then we can okay. So then we can rank contributors based on their differences. So there are different ways to actually to find the difference between two vectors. Like one of them is the curve coefficient, the other one is cosine similarity. But based on our business cases, we found that Minkowski distance, which is a general form of Euclidean distance, works actually very good for our business test cases. So you can see the formula here of the Minkowski distance. Gives you a freedom to play around with the order. But as an example, if you recall the first brief that we had earlier in our slides, the category was life is like product, and we have some we have some tags associated with that. We have two contributors, A and B, as two users. Contributor A, the first two elements of the array will tell us how big good or big bad in life is not a product should be, and the other ones, like the binary values, tells us if they have access to that tag or not. So now we have brief vector, contributor A and contributor B vector. If we calculate the Minkowski distance between A and brief, it will be 1.5. If we calculate the Minkowski between B and brief, it will be 3.3. And in this case, because the distance between A and the brief is smaller than the other one, contributor A is a better pick. But we modified the Minkowski to weighted Minkowski distance, in the sense that if one of the data points or one of the attributes is more important than the other ones, you can put a multiplier to that. For instance, here, if having access to keys is the most important one for us, then we actually multiply that tag by a coefficient, say 10 here, and then in that case, the distance between that brief and someone who doesn't have that tag will be larger. Now, the Minkowski distance will be changed to 10 for the first one and remain the same for the second one. So now contributor B, because this person has access to having two keys, this contributor will be a better pick for this example. So this is how Minkowski distance works. So the minimum for that, like the minimum distance will be 0, but there is no maximum because it depends on how many elements you have on that vector and also what are the different values of the vector could be. But for any kind of case, you can have the base case scenario and worst case scenario, and then you can normalize that between 0 to 100 to give like a percentage of match. The other thing was that in our system, actually, whenever a contributor did an assignment, we updated the whole system with the new signals that we got from that contributor, like the new score or any rank feedback that we received for that contributor. So in that way, the system is always updated. So this is how the whole process of the whole matching algorithm in Shutterstock works, and it helps us to make a data-driven feature to replace the manual picking, and it gives us a fast and more consistent way to pick our contributor for different games that we have. That was it. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer those.
How did your color comparison work with black and white color?
Sorry?
How does your color comparison work with black and white color?
The thing is that when with different color spectrum, you can play around with the weight that you put on each color. If you have only black and white photos, it will give you a different percentage than if you have black and white and also color photos. So if you are dealing with all black and white, then the differences between two photos is going to be different than the color photos. but you can play around with the weight for that colors, so the weight of differences.
When you get a brief and you're deciding which particular attributes to wait for, is that done manually or is that done automatically?
It depends on your business cases. Like for some of the briefs, like this one is as an example, sometimes some of the tags are really hard to find. Like finding the contributors that have access to kids like younger than 2 years old. So that actually that is a very important factor to pick contributors. Then we put like most but then we put more weight on that data group. But it really depends on the business cases and on different like cases that you have in your company to work with.
So it is done algorithmically. It just depends on the variety of the tag. Is that right?
The variety of it could be the variety of tags. It could be you can flag those tags that are hard to access. So those tags could have higher weight.
Things like character do not belong.
Sorry.
Things like character do not belong.
So if you don't want any tags for that, if you won't actually include that in the brief in this first place, right? Because you don't care about it. Because for instance, for this kind of example, we have lifestyle and we have product as a category of shooting.
Yeah.
Because we didn't talk about the sport, we didn't include that, so we don't care if one contributor has that tag or doesn't, right?
But what if it's two very closely related concepts, like okay, you put basketball in there, and you don't want anyone to know basketball. What happens? How?
Like if they have similar tags to each other, those categories. Is that your question?
Yes. So there's like one segment.
Segment from the brief that you want to exclude.
Yes. So you want basketball, you don't want pro basketball.
So that is the tag actually. So that is the tag. If you do, so in our system we have do's and don'ts. For each brief we have some do's that we know that the photographers should have that, and we have some don'ts that we know that those contributors shouldn't have that. So that actually should answer your question.
Back on her question?
Yeah.
So your example had ice cream, urban setting, surrounded by families. So if you had those three things, you would get a search result with possibly kids, adults, senior citizens. But what if you didn't want kids? What if you just wanted adults? Was there a way to specify and to exclude kids in that example?
Yeah. So this is a very like simple example that I brought up here, but we have tons of tags for that. So
Right.
for even for people, we have toddler, we have like different ages of kids, different ages of people.
Oh,
That's
so
how-
all of the types are predefined. You can't bring your own.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So implement your photographers waiting by, say, hidden tags.
No. So the thing is that photographers don't put tags. This is the brand user that they actually they say what they want to shoot. So this brief is coming from brand users. They gave us this scenario to shoot for.
So the photographers that are going to tag.
Oh, so they put the tag when they sign up with us. And if they don't have the tag, they won't be picked for this brief, right?
Okay, so it's not based on the photographs.
So right now it is based on the sign-up form that they themselves, photographers, say that if they have access to this or that. But in the future state, one of the things that we are thinking of is that based on the photos of their Instagram accounts, we can extract those tags and we can know what tags they have access to without asking them to mention it.
So you said for calculating similarity, you did the Minkowski system.
Right.
So why is that? So what kind of business?
So there are different ones. There are
You
different.
tested?
Yeah, we tested it. We tested it with like a smaller sample size to make sure that the distances between photographer and the brief make sense. And for those photographers that we push up to the least, it actually makes sense to different departments. So it was like a trial and error with using different kind of methodologies. Like
What kind of difference or some metrics did you compare between both of these?
like the cosine or the other ones.
Yeah.
So the problem was that some of the other, because of the business cases that we had, some of the other methodologies couldn't work. Like they couldn't give us the good difference between a bad contributor or a good contributor, or they couldn't give us a good distribution. But like a bad contributor would be ranked as 20%, and a good contributor would rank as 40%. So it didn't give us a good difference between those two types of people.
What kind of algorithm?
Sorry.
What kind of algorithm? Algorithm
Algorithm.
Oh, the algorithm
Yeah.
for what?
for your recommendation.
So so basically that Minkowski distance is a kind of data mining algorithm that we use, but we modified it, as I told you, to weighted Minkowski distance. But in the future, we're gonna put different kind of algorithm into the system.
Now, challenges you face.
The challenges, the main one is that getting getting contributors to tell us what kind of access they have, what kind of tags they have access to, and if they are honest with us or not. Was I think it's a big challenge in this.
So right now, you're defining a good photographer as someone whose visual style is similar to what the brands are looking for. So do you have any plans in the future of maybe incorporating how, for example, how prompt a photographer is in delivering the photos, or in terms of work performance rather than work style? Is that part of your plan, something you're looking at?
It is now, because the way that we score contributors, part of that is based on how they are on time. If they provide their photos to us on time, or even sooner than the deadline, we'll give them bonus for that on the scoring system. That will. So if you remember that I told, I said that there is a scoring system between 0 to 100. So part of that scoring system is being on time.
I have more technical questions. So you said we generated the vector. So how was the process of how did you generate the vector? What kind of technique did you use?
For the vector?
Yeah, when you created the
So
vector.
there are the
for
data
your
points
file.
that so you could you could fill
Like
out.
embedding, or how did you generate it? From photos to vector. What kind of
We didn't change the photos to vector. We changed the data points. So we built a vector out of the data points of the contributor, out of the data points of the brief.
Okay, so the scores. You put
The scoring system is a statistical model to put all those data points that we gathered around contributors and put them in a scoring system.
How did you measure success?
So that's a good question. So for any kind of recommendation system, you have to do like an A/B testing for that. But after almost 1 year after the recommendation engine worked with the platform, we kind of had assignments that they had both manual pick contributors and recommended contributors, and then we evaluate the performance of the recommendation engine by by checking and by comparing the performance of those contributors, manual versus recommended.